Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, May the 4th, and here are the headlines for today. Now, currently, we're looking at severe weather developing over the Midwest and into the Deep South as we move from Monday into Wednesday this week. And at the same time, we have snowfall over the Rockies, and specifically over southern portions of Wyoming down into Colorado. And in particular, in the mountains of Colorado and the northern Rockies there, we could be experiencing 6 to 12 inches in some locations. Now, if you live in and around Denver, we're talking about maybe a half an inch to 2 inches for you guys, and we'll get to those details in just a moment. But beyond Wednesday, we're going to see additional rains over the Deep South, and this will continue into Friday, where we could see 1.5 inches to as much as 3 inches of rainfall in some locations. Well, guys, that's it for the headlines. Let's dive into those details. Guys, the first thing we need to take a look at is the 500 millibar heights. And this shows us, again, the heights in the middle troposphere. And where you see the blue here, this is indicating a trough. And this is where we have the colder air moving down from Canada into the United States. Now, out ahead of this trough, we're going to have a cold front that's set up over the Midwest during the day Monday and Tuesday. And this will create thunderstorms during the day Monday and Tuesday, not only from the Midwest, but extending back into Missouri. And some of these storms could be severe, though the risk is smaller than what we saw last week. And we're looking at primarily hail threat here with these thunderstorms that are forming during the day Monday. Now, as we get into the day Tuesday, you'll notice this low pressure system that's forming somewhere over the panhandle of Oklahoma down into Texas. And this will actually create another area of severe weather as we get into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas during the day Tuesday. And we'll have some of those higher dew points, of course, associated with that low pressure system pulling that moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico. Also, we have a shortwave trough here over California. And again, as that rolls to the east with time, that's going to help to generate some of the severe weather as well, providing extra lift in the atmosphere over the southern states. Now, if we look at late Monday afternoon, this is around 4 p.m., we can see over Illinois and Indiana, perhaps into Ohio, we can see some thunderstorm development here taking place. And we could see an isolated, let's say, supercell form in parts of Illinois and Indiana. So we could see some severe weather here during the afternoon Monday. But watch the threat pop up here in Missouri as we move through the day. Now, as we move into, let's say, Monday evening and Monday night, we're going to notice that the severe weather threat pushes back to the west, over western portions of Missouri, northeastern portions of Oklahoma, northern portions of Arkansas. And we could see some of these produce large hail again as we move into Monday night. The potential for tornadic activity is still rather low at this time. Now, guys, I want you to also pay attention to this blue line. It's kind of backtracking to the west with time as we move into the day Tuesday. And in other words, what that's going to provide for is this upslope wind moving from east to west here, up, let's say, the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains. And that's going to create upslope winds, of course. And that's going to help to squeeze out that precipitation over the higher elevations of Wyoming and Colorado. And in fact, we can see the rain and snow developing late in the day Monday, definitely by Tuesday morning here over the higher elevations of the Rockies. And meanwhile, over California, there is a chance of rain and snow, and perhaps even a few rain showers near San Francisco Bay late Monday into Tuesday morning. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has put out a marginal risk for much of the Central Plains, extending into the Midwest here. So this includes Kansas City, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Fort Wayne, Indiana. So this entire area here, which is a large area, could see an isolated severe storm as we move into Monday afternoon. And just keep in mind that this is going to be earlier in the day for Milwaukee and Chicago. So we're talking about maybe mid-afternoon here for you guys. And then we're talking about Monday night for Kansas City, back towards Wichita, Kansas, into Springfield, Missouri. So you guys will be experiencing severe weather after dark, most likely. Now, moving into Monday night, Tuesday morning, you can see the low pressure system form over Oklahoma. And this is going to help generate severe weather over eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, western Tennessee, as we get into the day Tuesday. And if the cap does break in the atmosphere, where we could see some really severe storms is over northern Texas, near the Red River. So if you live in this region here and temperatures do warm enough to break the cap in the atmosphere, we could see some really severe storms over northern Texas, perhaps those that would produce a long-lived tornado. And of course, as you look at Colorado during the day Tuesday, you can see where the snow begins to really take hold here, especially over the mountains here of Colorado and Wyoming. Again, we could see over 6 inches of snow easily in elevations over 6,000 feet. I think this is a really good image here. It shows the positive tilt here of the trough. So again, kind of highlight for you guys that in red. Kind of imagine a line moving back here from, let's say, southwest to northeast. Again, showing that positive tilt here to that trough. And that's, again, allowing this cold air to butt up against the Rocky Mountains. And, of course, as it rises, it cools even quicker and allows for condensation of the air at a rapid rate. So as those winds move up the Rocky Mountains, it's squeezing out any moisture that we have in that air. And that's creating heavy snowfall over locations such as Denver, Colorado, during the day Wednesday. And this will be heavier as you move up in elevation. And it seems like the area that's going to get the most is probably central portions of northern Colorado. Now, this is not only for Tuesday morning, but through the day Tuesday, we can see the severe thunderstorms here north of Dallas, extending eastward into Little Rock. And this could expand again as we move into Monday. The Storm Prediction Center might update this. And the area to really watch out for is this area over Dallas. If you look at the Cape values here, they're quite extreme. They're over 3,000 joules per kilogram, which again, you only need about 1,000 joules per kilogram to create severe weather. And we've got that, and also we have some high shear values in this location. So just be on the lookout if you live in a place like Dallas, perhaps down to Waco even. We could see some very strong storms if things do pan out. But right now, the models are showing that the cap will not break in places like Dallas and Waco. But again, it looks like if you live in Little Rock and much of Arkansas, much of eastern Oklahoma here, there will be some severe weather in that location in particular. But otherwise, again, we have a general risk of thunderstorms from Texas to New England here during the day Tuesday. Now, guys, as we move into Wednesday, we see two things happen here. We have heavy snowfall continuing over Colorado. Again, it will become quite heavy even for, let's say, the city of Denver if you live there. And then also, if we look at the thunderstorms here developing over eastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, even over into Alabama, we could see a line of severe thunderstorms develop anywhere in that zone. And we could see not only strong winds with this system, we could also see large hail. And we could even see a few isolated tornadoes, again, further to the south and west. So if you live in Texas here in particular, I think this will be the highest risk of seeing a tornado as we move into the day Wednesday. Again, we can see general rainfall moving into the Appalachians here. A lot of this is going to fall apart over the state of Virginia and Maryland. We'll see another batch of rain that kind of holds together better over Pennsylvania, back into New York State and the rest of New England here. But I think there will be a dry slot as you move into central Virginia here. I think a lot of this is going to be broken up by the mountains. Let's say if you live from Roanoke to D.C., I think that general area will be receiving less rainfall than others. Well, guys, when we look at what the SPC has for Wednesday, they have a general 15% chance here from eastern Texas through much of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And this, of course, includes Waco, Houston, Shreveport, Jackson, Greenville, as far east as Birmingham, Alabama. So just keep in mind here that there is the risk of high winds and large hail in these locations. And as far as tornadoes, I'd be most concerned over this region here, from Waco back into Austin, Houston, maybe as far east as Shreveport. I think this area here would be where we need to be on the lookout for tornadoes possibly forming during the day Wednesday. Now, as mentioned before, as we move from Wednesday to Friday, we can see showers and thunderstorms continuing over the south. More severe weather could pop up during the day Thursday here over South Texas. And general showers and thunderstorms continue over the south and push to the east here into the Carolinas during the day Friday. One thing you'll notice here is that a lot of the wet weather dies out over the state of Florida. You guys are going to be mainly dry here over much of the state of Florida. Another area where the rain seems to fall apart here is over central Virginia, back into D.C. and parts of Maryland here. The Delmarva Peninsula even could see very little rain from all of this. So there will be some areas that receive a lot of rain, and there'll be some areas that receive very little rain over the next several days. In fact, when we look at precipitation totals, we can see a lot of purple here over the south, which is good news. A lot of these areas have experienced severe drought over the past several months. So if you live in eastern Texas here, through much of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, back into South Carolina, and even parts of North Carolina, we have a solid area here of about 1.5 inches of rain. So this is very good news for you guys. And even further to the north, right, over portions of Arkansas and Tennessee, we can see another area here back into western Kentucky. Again, we have the potential here for 1.5 inches or more of rain. Again, we can see another area of purple here from Indiana into Ohio, western portions of Pennsylvania and New York. Just off the Great Lakes here, we have another area of potentially 1.5 inches of rain between now and Friday. But we have two regions here that won't be receiving much at all, right? Over portions of Pennsylvania, back into New York City, back to Boston, generally less than 0.5 inch of rain over the next several days. And then we have another dry slot here over central Virginia from Roanoke back towards the Delmarva Peninsula. You guys will probably be seeing less than 0.5 inch of rain as well. And then when we get down to Florida, completely dry over much of central Florida here. Northern portions, very little as well. In fact, for the rest of the week, it looks like mainly southern Florida is going to pick up on beneficial rain here. The other area you'll notice on the map here that's significant is over Colorado and southern Wyoming. Again, that's where we have that snowstorm potentially developing. And the heaviest precipitation is actually going to be in the coldest area of the storm. So here over northern portions of Colorado, we can see over 1.5 inches of liquid equivalent precipitation here. And that's going to translate to possibly 1 to 2 feet of snowfall in this area. Also, I should mention over, let's say, eastern portions of California into western Nevada here, this is going to be another area that receives significant precipitation. And I would say if you live in San Francisco Bay, likely going to receive 1/4 inch or less from the system that's moving through California here. But generally speaking, this system that's moving through California and Nevada will be a mountain event. And just to give you a general idea of what the National Weather Service is thinking about this storm, we can see over Denver a general 0.5 inch to 2 inches of snowfall. This will likely be elevation dependent here. Now the same thing is true for Colorado Springs. We can see a general 0.5 inch to 2 inches here. Now the primary reason we're seeing lower amounts here for Denver and Colorado Springs is one, the elevation, but also the marginal temperatures. We could see temperatures around 33, 34 degrees versus 30 and 32. And we'll have that here, of course, as we get into the mountains. So if you go west of Boulder, right, we can see that we get into the yellows and oranges here. And that's where we get over 1 foot of snowfall possible here over the highest elevations of Colorado. And of course, over the highest elevations, we can see in red over 2 feet of snowfall possible here. Well, guys, we'll leave it at that for today. I hope you enjoyed today's forecast. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe, as it really does help the channel. Also, if you have any questions, just leave those down in the comments below. I hope to see you guys Thursday for the next video. Bye for now.